Hiya too and happy Friday. Welcome to your final English lesson of the week. And I must say, lots of you have been doing some super work on Doodle and in the Google Classroom this week, so well done. The title of today's English lesson is Comparatives and Superlatives. So we're going to be finding out all about comparatives and superlatives, finding out about any rules, and then I'm going to set you a task on Doodle, not the Google Classroom, on Doodle. So we're going to start with comparatives. Now, a comparative adjective is used to compare a person, action, thing, or state to another. And it's when we add the suffix er onto the end. So I'll say that again. A comparative adjective is used to compare one person, action, thing, or state to another. So, for example, my adjective would be bright. And if you want to turn that into a comparative adjective to compare it to something else, you would add the suffix er and your adjective would become brighter. Then you can use it to compare. So you might say, my torch is brighter than yours. You're comparing two things. You might say, my lamp is brighter than yours. Again, you're comparing two things. Okay? So, when you add the suffix er, that's when you compare something. It becomes a comparative adjective. So warm, warmer. The weather is warmer today than it was yesterday. You're comparing two things. You might say, the boy is happier than the girl. You're comparing two people. My car is bigger than yours. You're comparing two things. Now, a quick activity for you. I am going to write some words on my piece of paper and I want you to have a go at adding the suffix er onto the end to make it a comparative adjective. So let me write the words, then pause the video and have a go at adding the suffix er onto the end. So your first word, hot, long, shiny, wet, and light. Okay, so pause this video and have a go at adding the suffix onto those words. So well done to those of you that added the suffixes onto the end. So you're right, hot becomes hotter. Now you'll notice something that I've done there. Long becomes longer. Shiny becomes shinier. Wet becomes wetter. And light becomes lighter. Now you can see that there are some exceptions to the rule. Sometimes you have to double your last letter before you add your suffix er. Sometimes you have to change the y to an I before you add er. So hopefully you got all of those correct. If you can think of any other words that you could turn into a comparative adjective, write them down on a piece of paper and send them to me on the Google Classroom so that I can have a look at those. So that was comparative adjectives. We're now going to look at superlative adjectives, okay? So superlative adjectives is used to compare one person, action or thing, similar to your comparative adjective, but the difference is you add the suffix est onto the end. So whereas the comparative was er, the superlative is es So for example, if you've got quiet and you wanted to turn it into a superlative adjective to compare it to something else, you would say quietest. So I might say so-and-so is the quietest member of 2SJ. Okay, so you're adding the suffix est onto the end. Another example would be the orange is the juiciest of fruits. Or we could say Birmingham was the hottest city last weekend. You're using the suffix est to compare different things. So similar to the comparative adjectives, I'm going to write some words on my board and I'd like you to have a go at turning them into superlative adjectives. So your first word is thin. Your next word is short, funny, dark, and dull. So pause the video and see if you can turn my adjectives thin, short, funny, dark and dull into superlatives. So remember, to turn it into a superlative you add the suffix est. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so well done. Let's go through the answers. So thin would become thinnest. What do you notice that I have done there? I have doubled my last letter. Short would become shortest. Funny would become funniest. Can anybody guess what I'm going to have to do with my Y before I add my suffix? That's right, I've had to change it to an I before I add the suffix est. Dark would become darkest. And dull would become dullest. So well done to those of you that were able to turn all of those adjectives into superlatives. Now, not all words can be changed to comparatives or superlatives. There are some exceptions to the rule. I've wrote a couple of examples at the top of my paper here. So bad, we wouldn't say badder or baddest. We would possibly say worst or they're the worst. They're the worst. Worse wouldn't become worsest, it's just worse. So there are some exceptions to the rule. You can often notice if there's some exceptions to the rule because they often don't sound right. So when you complete your activity on Doodle, you might just want to say some of the words out loud and do they sound right to you? If they sound right, you probably can turn them into a comparative or a superlative. If they don't sound right, then sometimes you can't add that suffix onto the end. You just need to be able to make that decision. So what I'd like you to do now is log into Doodle, go onto the extras tab at the top, and I have assigned you a piece of work to do with comparatives and superlatives by using the suffix ER and EST. Hopefully you can earn 2SJ lots more stars this week, so have fun with that.